what he'll do, yes.
That's the right answer.
It is 4:45 on August 20th, 2026. We're going to call our workshop meeting to order. First agenda item in workshop, receive a report and hold a discussion and provide staff direction on the fiscal year 2026-2027 annual program of services and capital improvement program. Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor and council and guests. Tonight we get to hear from really all of our department heads as they walk through their general fund budget requests and goals for the year. We do this at this time every year. And so we've got several slides to go through. We'll get through this as quickly as we can. Some of the items you're going to hear about tonight, we've talked a little bit about. Some of them may be new. As we've discussed previously, there's not a lot of new programming being recommended in this budget just because of some of the challenges we have this year. So I think with that, we'll just start rolling through each department, unless, Leanne, did you want to cover something before that? And we'll start with city administration, I guess, because I have the mouse. This is not a department that has a whole lot of money associated with it, just because it only incorporates 3 people. This is basically myself, the city secretary's office, Emma Crotty, who's in my office as well, and the city council. So you can see on here we have some, and I'm not going to read each goal on here. These are just things that I think are good to work toward throughout the year. Some of these are repeat things from previous years. A lot of this is development related. And I won't read each one of those necessarily, but if you have questions about any of those, I'll certainly try to answer. This budget, you actually see a decrease from what is in the base budget typically, and the main reason for that is we have reduced, and you're going to see a theme throughout all these tonight, areas where we have reduced some of our operations in each of the budgets as we tried to get balanced this year. And again, we've talked a lot about that. The notable changes in the administration budget, we cut the council contingency by $5,000. We did include some additional dollars for the Citizens Academy. This would be this, we are actually taking applications, as y'all know, for the second Citizens Academy. We started that last year, thought it was very successful. Not a big cost associated with that, but we did want to keep that going. And some additional boards and commission training would come out of this budget for $2,000. But we did reduce the city manager contingency, basically cut that in half. We typically include a $75,000 contingency in the city manager's budget just for any emergencies or anything that might come up. As you know, we would never spend that without coming to the council first and talking to you about that. But we did reduce that, cut that number in half, again, in an attempt to try to get balanced. So that, not a lot of dollars associated with that. It's not a huge department, but that's what we're doing in this one. So any questions on the administration budget?
No?
Who's next? HR is next. They may be smaller than my office. I don't know.
Yes.
They may be cheaper than me. I don't know.
Yes, we are. Well, the HR, however, with HR, you don't see no notable budget changes, and pretty much administration and other departments actually are the ones that took the hit, mainly because a lot of the money, not a lot, but considerably amount of money that we have in HR is for the employees. So cutting means that we would take away from those things that we have, IA, social committee, that has proven to be a great initiative to get employees together. So for that reason, there's no changes. As to the department goals, I mean, every year, you know, we have to focus on the insurance and medical especially. However, in addition to that, what we want to focus next year is on make sure that we have a lot of records that we have to ensure that are not paper anymore. So we have to continue doing that. As for the personal policy, this year we focused on the changes that we had, and now next, including that we were adding on the medical, the health assessment. So we focus on that. Next year we'll focus on the personal policy to ensure that we update it and make sure that everything is up and in compliance with the law. Also, our plan is to have a centralized HR forms library to help the supervisors. We work really close with all the supervisors, and actually, we are proud to share that we don't lose on our unemployment claims. And the reason that it's important not to is because after that, you have the possibility of EEOC, and after that, lawsuits. So, so far, I mean, it's great working with all the departments. Everybody goes through the motions of ensuring that we go through the process, due diligence on it. And last is, we're just going to work on maximizing one for software, which is the performance. It has some tools to where the supervisors can add some notes and also documents, so we're just going to focus on now, make sure that they are aware how to use that additional tools. And the department is comprised of 4, including one employee that does the payroll. So I will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question, probably Scott, this is for you, because I noticed what falls under operations? Because I noticed it was under the other one too, so what falls under that?
So, well, I'm gonna let Leanne answer that. Make sure I'm not, because I'm thinking personnel, but that's up before
I
that.
think everybody's gonna have that, yeah.
So that's just any operations and maintenance. So it's gonna be training, vehicles, fuel, contract labor, any professional services agreements, supplies, just anything that it takes to run those departments that does not fall under personnel or technology. And we break out technology just because that is a growing cost that keeps increasing from year to year. But that having such technology in a lot of departments has allowed us to keep our staff lean. And so we always kind of break technology out to kind of focus in on that as well.
Any other questions?
Next victim. Fire. These numbers are a lot bigger than city administration.
Let me muscle up
No,
to the
no,
table.
no,
over
no pressure.
here. Good evening. Yeah. I just was over there, not daydreaming, but I was thinking while God was going that I left off a pretty big goal, and that is in '27 we will do, we have a 5-year redo on our best practices. And so I should have put that in there, but it's a pretty big task that we'll do in '27 to update that. And so my apologies, that should be one of our goals, and it's an important one. But with that said, again, I'm not going to read all of them, but I do want to concentrate on a couple. The new engine, there's a new engine that's in make ready right now, but then this specific bullet point is for next year. We also have another engine that y'all allowed us to purchase, and so it should be here about a year from now, maybe May or June of next year, and so we're looking forward to that. And then also that ambulance, it seems like we just purchased a couple ambulances, but because of the build times, we got to get ahead of it, and so we got to go ahead and start purchasing that, and then hopefully in a year or two after we purchase it will actually come to fruition. But so some notable changes for us. We want the on-site hose testing, although it's only $5,400. We have to test our hose every year and to make sure it's in good working condition. The problem is it's pretty it's task heavy, and it requires our guys to really not have a fire truck ready to go because they're out testing. And so we're getting too busy. We're running well over 4,000 calls a year, and we have to have a third party now come in and do that. It alleviates the burden from us and allows our guys to be focused on making calls and not on hose testing. So the software updates are kind of what Leanne was saying. They're kind of ongoing issues with technology, but as technology grows, as the state puts more on us, we have to kind of grow our software packages, and so we're looking at different strategies to update. We use ESO right now, and so it could be that we stay with them, but we want to make sure that we're in the best process for our software, so we'll take another look at that. And the other one I wanted to mention was The needs assessment for the third ambulance, I don't have a magic number for that. There's no FBI statistic on, hey, when do you put a third ambulance on based on how busy we are? But we are looking at that, and we are getting busy, and that is coming. So just note that I'm not saying we're going to have you purchase another ambulance to staff next year, but we are looking in the coming years that that's probably going to be a need, as well as the number one a bullet point up there is the future fire station location. And Mr. Campbell and I think Leanne and some other people have been kind of entrenched in finding those locations, and I think we've found some, and so now it's just time to go get them. So hopefully we'll do that this next year as well. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
All right, just some clarification on these vehicles. So you said there's multi-year lead time on them. So is the capital expenditure up front when you order it, or upon delivery, or some of each, or how does that work?
We do, and Leanne's probably better to answer, we do finance, and we have a vehicle replacement fund that's part of our budget. And so they're financed, and that financing starts when we order it. And so you're right, sometimes if we don't get that truck for a year, we've already made a payment on it. There are sometimes on an ambulance, because of the cost, we might pay cash for it, but they're getting even high enough that we need to start financing them.
What's an ambulance cost these days?
For, unbelievably enough, it's over $400,000 for an ambulance. And that's a stock ambulance. We're not even trying to customize it. So,
And there's some departments out there, I think, and correct me, that there's been some legal challenges, haven't there, with how long it's taking some of these
yeah,
companies
there
to
is
get
the
stuff to the cities. Go ahead.
there is an association. I don't know if it's the Fire Chiefs Association or the Firefighters Association. The national one is suing because of all of the lead times, or they use COVID as a reason why we have such a lag, and that's just not the case anymore. And all the cost. An engine, one of the engines that we're replacing was $600,000, and it's 1.2 today, and it's a doubled in 5 or 6 years. So
For the same kitting, essentially.
basically the same engine. I would say actually a little less, because we're buying stock instead of custom.
What is Fireworks software?
That's just another brand. Fireworks is a brand of software that we can use to do our reporting. And so both police and us have a robust RMS system, and so we're just looking at making changes, getting a better deal, and something that has better analytics for us.
My simple mind's thinking, we don't even do fireworks.
Fireworks.
Good question, though.
Thank you, Chad.
You got one more slide?
Oh, I got one more slide.
Done. You have all this money.
We're gonna come back on September the 17th and do I almost said crime control, but I'm not ahead of that. The fire control district, yeah. The fire control district, there's no notable changes coming in that. The capital replacement, again, is just that ambulance. You can see over there for $90,000 is what we're estimating to pay over, do we do a 7-year on that? 7-year on financing. Now I'm done.
Now you're
Sorry, 7 years, is that an expected lifespan for those?
Yeah, we try to do 5 frontline and 2 in reserve, and that's I can't keep honest on that, because it just really depends on how long it takes to build one.
Okay, and sorry, forgive my ignorance, but what do you do with an old ambulance? I mean, you're not selling with the Ghostbusters.
So it goes into reserve. Like if one breaks down, it'll come back into service. Is one, and it's really old. We might trade it or auction it. We've done both.
Okay, so you can recover some value out of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're up, Chief.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, or I should say good evening, everybody. Like with the, we spend less than the fire department. No, I'm just, so, our police department organizational goals, they were tweaked a little bit from last year. Obviously, our goal is to continue to enhance our recruitment capabilities. That's an ongoing goal with us, because we are always recruiting and we're basically always hiring, whether it be retirements, somebody going to a job somewhere else, or somebody deciding to leave the organization. We're always in the process of hiring and looking for good team members to come on board. What we're also doing to help with that is our retention and focus on organizational health, both internally and externally is what we're working on, organizational health. Part of the the issues that arose when I came here related to communication, and we're still addressing some of those matters in the organization, but they are improving. But we're also giving people more opportunities and development opportunities in the organization to take on other responsibilities. I believe the best way to develop a team is to give them responsibilities, give them something to do, and let them work through those processes. And again, once we are fully staffed, the idea of being fully staffed, it does help reduce long-term staffing costs, because there is a cost associated with bringing new people on, whether everything from those real costs being uniforms and ballistic vests and everything else, to some of the soft costs that people don't think about that are related to training and those kind of items that individuals have to go to. We're going to continue to improve efficiency in our organization and readiness. For example, when I landed here in 2024, one of my directives to the organization was to begin really focusing on what's called alert training. Alert training is the rapid deployment we have to like the active shooter events. The department was doing good, but we could have done better. This year we went through the medical side of things, which was medical alert. And next year we're heading into a program called AIR, which is going to be an integration of fire and police would go to a scene, as well as incorporating our hospitals and other members of the jurisdiction in a large scale event, but it's bringing all of it together. I'm also a big fan of focusing on health, and I'm very, very pleased this year. Very excited. We had 29 members of our team go through a frontline health assessment. We hope to be able to continue that again next year with having a smaller group go through each year after that to help to check on people's physical health within the organization. And then, of course, we're continuing to expand our efforts in the community, how we can get out there. One of the last things we did after we came in here from one of our work sessions discussing a possible ordinance related to e-bikes and things, but we wanted to focus on education. So we had a video come out just the other day to discuss that, and we do have some one-on-one meetings we're working on as well with some members of our organization too. In addition to the one-on-ones our staff is having like during the first week of school as they encounter those in the public. So, and we're also working with our surrounding cities as well on that. As it relates to budget, there were some notable changes we wanted to discuss related in the operations budget. We are going to have our ballistic shield replacement. That's the cost. I think that is for 2 or 3 shields. These are rifle rated shields, so they have a much higher ballistic protection. But what we're going to do, instead of replacing everything at one time, we're rotating them through every year, replacing so many each year. We did change our alarm permitting software. The good thing about our alarm permitting, we bring in more than twice that in alarm permits. But it's a software that helps our team there, instead of doing some kind of manual entry or doing something where they're making things through Excel or something like that. It allows us to be much more effective as we collect our alarm permits. There was lieutenant's freeze, which we've discussed previously. That is a position that I do want to have back in the organization as soon as possible. It is a vital position in the department. And that's kind of it. We had a reduction in our radio transfer, which is what we pay to the county every year. And then we had a salary savings this year, which is what, Leanne, help me out with this. This is kind of an average of what we save every year through salary savings, what we've recognized over the past several years.
So it's 3% of budgeted salaries.
So, hopefully I'll go to the next slide. We do have a crime control and some of our other budgets, which we will be coming back on the 17th to discuss that more. But our crime control and prevention sales tax, we do have a child safety program, SEAT program, which is a separate line item. We do have a police confiscation, both state, and this is our seizure funds for both state and federal. There's not a lot in those. And then our opioid settlement grant. We're still working off of that, and we've been using that to help assist with our K-9. I know we've purchased a vest for our K-9. We've actually acquired a K-9 out of that through that grant. Some of the things we're looking at in our crime control district is we are going to be adding another SWAT trained officer. We do work with the Denton County SWAT team. It'll give us a 5th person who's prepared on our shifts as well to address situations that may come up in the city, but also to assist the county. We are looking at need some furniture for our traffic office. We've kind of piecemealed something together, so we're trying to get 3 desks in there and equipment set up for our traffic section. We're having to change up some of our gas masks related to it's time for their replacement for our SWAT operators, as well as we're looking at some LTE digital cameras. These cameras are something to where we have an issue somewhere, let's say we have a vandalism problem somewhere, we can put these cameras up to see if we can capture something. They're very mobile for us, so they're not something that's static in one location, but we can move them around. We are going to be replacing some of our AEDs. They've just reached end of life in our building. We were very fortunate. We had some actually granted to us, which helped us out some, but we need a few more for our building. There's our frontline wellness assessment again for next year. Radar unit certifications, we're going to be, all of our radar units have to be certified when they go to court. A lot of times that's what individual asks for, is our certification on our radar units. So this is putting them through a certification process. We get a document that says, yes, your radar is working fine. We're adding a panic alarm to our property room. Right now, our property room, we bring a lot of things in there that can be hazardous. For example, there are some narcotics, and if we had an accidental exposure, we need an alarm in there. And the alarm's it is a push button, but it's also if that person was to fall down, it would send off an alarm so we could respond there as well. So we're getting some motorcycle hearing protection. Harleys are loud, motorcycles are loud. You got the traffic noise along the streets, everything else. This is something that is built in so they can still hear their radio, but it protects their hearing. The best way I can describe it is something along the lines of, if you go to the range and you shoot, you get the noise canceling headphones. It's one of those type of systems. And then of course, you don't know yet, but we're very still hopeful that we're going to get a grant for a Faro 3D mapping system that can be used to map everything from accidents on the freeway to crime scenes, creating a 3D map, marking items in the scene. That's for the training on it, and that would be an annual cost for it. But again, right now we're waiting on the grant amount. Jimmy, was it $106,000 is what the grant's out there for the piece of equipment. So, and that's what I have for y'all this evening. Any questions? Hot dog.
Parks. Caroline.
There we go. Hi, Mayor and Council. For the Parks Department, our goals for this upcoming year is really we've looked at the Community Park Master Plan, but really start kind of putting it into play. Improve the conditions on one of the soccer fields should be done, and then all of them will have been enhanced. We'll be replacing the park at Knoll Park this year. We've currently been voting this summer through special events on which playground will be installed, and that will come to you in December. And then our just preventative maintenance. For community events, we want to continue to partner with local businesses and vendors. We've been distributing an online survey after each one of our events to our vendors, to the participants. That way we can continue to get better in everything we do. And then we just are constantly redesigning the Agora app to make it more user-friendly so you can find information on there. The notable budget changes you'll see, we've eliminated the Christmas decorations here at City Hall. This will be the second year that we haven't had Christmas decorations, as well as Agora. That Agora decor was budgeted in the short-term vehicle fund, so they'll still have Christmas decorations at Agora. We just moved where it'll be funded from. We reduced the tree wrapping. They're currently wrapped. They'll need to be rewrapped in the future as the trees grow, but for 1 year we can take that out. And then, like the other budgets, we're projecting salary savings of that 3% for vacancies. And then the biggest hit was through special events, cutting that budget $125,000, which is what we did this last year. So we were still able to offer amazing, great events, even with the budget reductions.
I didn't get a lot of complaints about our events, so you did a good job covering that.
We also have 6 special restricted funds. In those, you'll have the hotel occupancy tax that's used for sporting field improvements, as well as bands and advertisements for events at Agora. Your park development fund, that's what we use to fund the playground replacements. So again, Knoll Park is in that. Short-term vehicle tax pays for the maintenance of Agora Park, and so we've added some mulch, things that were paid out of the parks budget, but have moved them to this budget, but like the mulch in the beds, the Christmas decorations, some power washing of the building, now that it's a few years old. And then the Keep Corinth Beautiful budget, we've had a Galaxy Digital subscription, that's our volunteer management software, where people who want to volunteer at Keep Corinth Beautiful events sign up and get notifications. So we've paid for that subscription. We also added 2 new events this year. The Greatest American Cleanup, we held our first one in the spring, and then our Monarch Market will be this October, and it's a reuse sustainability market in the Butterfly Garden in October with local vendors. And then the Butterfly Garden continues to grow, so plants for that garden. And then in our tree mitigation fund, there's no changes, but that's what normally does our tree maintenance, plantings, those sort of things. I like it.
It's a daily.
That's a lot.
God, they're so long.
That's a lot. I'll make this quick. So we are, of course, going to continue to work with developers as economic development opportunities come available, and a lot of what we do, our planning team works to make every single development that comes our way the best that it can possibly be. So we spend a fair amount of time just trying to ensure that. Probably one of the biggest projects our planning team is going to be involved in, and you guys as well, is going to be the UDC rewrite. We're actually working on that contract now. That's going to take every bit of a year, maybe longer, to complete that process. So it's a complete rewrite of our UDC.
Y'all recall, we got a grant for $250,000 for that effort, so.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Just kind of doing the highlights. One of the things we're working on now is a public art plan for downtown. Not getting into specific designs or anything like that, but sort of locating where public art projects might happen, possible resources. So give us a guide to be able to move forward on those projects as developments come along, and wayfinding and gateways go in and that sort of thing. So we're working on that now. You're going to see that soon. Building services, we want to update our building codes. The COG puts out updated building codes, so we need to update from our 2021 code to 24. So that's just adopting the COG code, so you'll see that soon. Improving our processes with customers, especially with our new software. We're continually working on that and looking at ways to simplify application processes for our customers and just simplify processes in general. It mentions the prep program, but that's being proposed to be cut this year. But we'll focus on the Neighbors Helping Neighbors, which is just a volunteer program. We had begun to set that up when our code officer retired, so we'll pick that up again when we have our new officer in place to really begin kind of working on the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program. Hopefully it can help make up for the prep program a little bit. And then developing code enforcement handouts to talk about top code violations. Just trying to educate folks on what you can and can't do. Notable changes, engineering services increased by 50,000. That sets a total of 250,000. We invoice about 90% of that to developers, so that's reimbursed back to us. Eliminating the prep program, that was one of the cuts that we are proposing, and then freezing the code compliance officer position for 6 months. So we haven't had that position, it was frozen last year. And that's a second position, by the way. We will have a code officer.
Just hired one.
Yes, we just hired one. He'll start in a few weeks.
Glenn, did we tell you? You're doing that? No, just
Any questions on that one?
What happens when you miss meetings?
That's right.
You get voluntold.
Economic development, really the only thing that's notable is just, of course, purchased a piece of land for a development, and so the TERS will be reimbursing the EDC for 50% of that purchase. So that's it.
Any other questions or comments?
Our new code enforcement officer will present streets.
So,
Can you say it?
yes, with glare and all, let's see. So for streets, we have 8 employees. We have no notable changes. The goals for next year is to perform 100% of the contract paving projects. With Fugro, it will be on year 6 of the Fugro report. I don't know, some 5 or 6 years ago.
Kind of explain for the new
Yep.
people what that is.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, we did a Fugro report, which is street condition assessment, and it gave us a 10-year plan to repair streets. Back then, you guys budgeted $250,000 a year to rehab streets, so that's that 10-year program using that money. So we're on year 6 of that. We have been doing a updated PCI drive-by in-house, and we're working on getting that so that we can take that, what's now 6 years old, make it into a new program and keep building on it. Grind to repair 100 trip hazards, Meadow Oak subdivision. We're going to try to get that done this year, and then move on to Fairview West Phase 2, I believe it is. Fairview has 6 phases, so, but it's the one right behind and to the west of Meadow Oaks subdivision. Install minimum of 10 ADA ramps. We actually started working with a foaming company. We may be able to get 20 or 30 of these done now, because the foaming company can come in, adjust the ADA ramp, rather than ripping them out, where it's $9,000 to take care of one ADA ramp. If we rip it out, it's $1,000 if we do it with
Can you not do that on the sidewalks? Because I did it in my driveway.
foaming.
Yes.
So we do grinding first because it's the cheapest cost.
It's cheaper than the foaming?
Yep. And then foaming is the next and complete replacement. So
Oh, okay.
it's about $100 to grind it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about $500 to foam them, each sidewalk. Yep, somewhere around that number. And then it would be $900 to replace it, because you're doing 2 of them. Those are about the numbers. So hopefully we can increase that, and I know for sure we'll meet the 10. And when I did this, I didn't know about the foaming. It's the first year we've ever done foaming, so we'll give it a shot. Stripe a minimum of 25 lane miles of roadway. We're actually starting, this year we started the program. So we started with railroads and crosswalks this year. Next year, we're gonna start doing those lane miles, Meadowview. All we get complaints about Meadowview and Lake Sharon, so those would be the 2 that we start with. Complete 95% of potholes within 3 business days.
We'll hear about the other 5, so.
The other 5 are the ones you gotta replace the whole street for, so we'll hear about them. Increase. And we do want to start increasing the in-house repairs. Right now, we do a lot of contract work. Turnover, it takes so long to train someone. We have a really good group right now that we think we could start increasing the workload in-house and reducing the workload out, so you'd be able to get more done with the same money. Facilities. So facilities has 2 employees. We're going to be working on an ADA compliance study. That's buildings, sidewalks, everything is included in that one. We'll have a little book and we'll meet the tech stop requirements there. Reduce building repair contingency by 20,000 and reduce janitorial by 24,000. So what we did was, instead of doing three days a week cleaning, we knocked it down to 2 in some facilities. Improve ADA compliance was probably the #1 goal for next year. Reduce landscape maintenance costs by performing all irrigation repairs at City Hall and in-house. So we've started it this year, so if there's an irrigation leak or something, Gatlin will go out and check everything, make the quick repairs, but if it's something bigger, we could still contract it in. Improve energy efficiency at City Hall and PSF by resetting ceiling insulation where it has been removed during construction repair cost. Improve energy efficiency with dimmer switches, and we've reduced the janitorial costs. Any questions on those?
You don't want to do technology.
I thought I was gonna. No, I want that one. Take building code.
Okay, so for technology services, the big change here is that this year in October, we're actually going to move multimedia underneath the technology services umbrella that will report to Brenton. These guys are going to be busy. Probably some of the biggest things is every 5 years, we like to do a strategic plan. Technology is a big piece of everything that every department does. So Brenton and his staff do a comprehensive reviews, meet with all the departments to see what softwares we have, what our needs are, and how technology can help shape those. So once we get that finished, we'll present that to council for approval, because that will set the stage of what we're gonna, the roadmap for the next 5 years for us. And then one thing that we've been working on for several years is trying to really build a database or knowledge base of everything that we have as a resource for our employees for training on Excel or any of the softwares that we have and so forth. So Brenton and his staff are going to be working really hard this year to try to get that finalized so that we can use that as a resource for our departments. And then also the first one that I kind of skipped over is implement the Criminal Justice Information Service compliance requirements for the 26 Texas Department of Public Safety. Boy, that's a mouthful. Audit. Moving into business intelligence and GIS, Garrett and his folks are just doing just an extraordinary job, and you can see that in all the maps and so forth that we have on the website. They're going to implement a UAS and GIS system for 3D elevation modeling. And we did an audit on GIS last year, so this year next year they're gonna come in and kind of overhaul all the enterprise infrastructure and kind of take a lot of those recommendations from that audit to just kind of strengthen up our GIS program and put in new servers and so forth. And then right now GIS helps planning, and they partner with planning on addressing and street naming throughout the city. And so just to make sure that it's consistent and that we don't end up with names for streets that maybe we don't want, he's going to work with the planning staff to come up with a policy that we present to council that kind of sets some naming requirements for that so that we can make sure that moving forward we're consistent with how we do those throughout all the neighborhoods throughout the city. And for multimedia, we have in 2028, there was a bill that passed this last year that says you have to have closed captioning on all your broadcast live meetings. And so we're going to use this next year to work through that. Evan is going to try to kind of build this internally so that we don't have to really put in a lot of long-term cost associated with this. And you can see we've got some video closed caption system upgrades, about $40,000, and we think that once we put this in that we will not have those ongoing costs for that. And with that, he's going to look at optimizing and redesigning how we broadcast and stream some of our cities, and really start working on creating some standards for our policies and procedures as they relate to multimedia. And then, as always, to continue support special events and communications with all their digital advertisements and such. So as far as the budget, we have 10.5 employees. The notable budget changes were we reduced our Cisco service security by $25,000. The council just improved our SOX, which is a free service, as we're going to get a lot of cybersecurity review on our systems through that. And there are some opportunities there for reduced cyber penetration tests and so forth, so we're going to utilize that service to us. And then, as I mentioned, the video closed caption system that we're going to build, it's a one-time cost of $40,000. And then the multimedia specialist was frozen in this current year. In next year's budget, we have it frozen for 6 months. Right now, we have a one-person shop for multimedia, and there's such a great need. He does all of our events, he does all of our videos, and so we're hoping to be able to get that hired mid-year to give him a little bit of help on that. Any questions? Moving on to the restricted funds for technology services, we have the firewall replacement of $125,000. This is a budget, it's an internal service fund, so we put a little bit of money each year, so when it comes time to replace it, the money is there and available to fund that. So that's our project for next year. Moving into finance, one of the issues that has come up in our finance world, if you want to say, is that there is starting to be a lot of fraud with vendors submitting fraudulent insurance certifications for projects. And that's through AI and various things. They can make them appear just like, just like straight out of an insurance company. So we have always tracked insurance internally, and it's really difficult to manage manually. Because you have just expiration dates from projects that occur in 6 months or 9 months. So we move some money in around. We're not asking for any money for it, but we use some funding to implement a new system to able to help us track the vendor certificate so that we can keep up with those expirations. But it also helps us evaluate the authenticity of those certificates to make sure, are they really real, are they valid, and it does ironically use AI to go in and evaluate to tell you, hey, this doesn't look right, or this doesn't meet your requirements. And so I think that's going to really help us, one, on to minimize the risk of not accepting fraudulent certificates of insurance, but also help us be more efficient in how we help our departments in managing their contracts, because we're going to be able to stay on top of anything that insurance requirements that expire. We are doing it this year, and we're going to continue to just look at doing periodic internal reviews to just identify compliance gaps within policies, state laws. We have a compliance officer, and so she does audits quarterly and focuses on different things versus P cards, contracts, so forth. One, to use them as training opportunities for staff. Especially we have some young staff in the finance department, so we do a lot of training from the audits that she does, but then also for us to be able to provide feedback and training and so forth for the external departments outside of finance. And as I mentioned, we've got some new staff in the finance department, and so we're constantly just looking at doing employee development and skill improvement. And as far as the budget, we did not ask for any projects this year, and then we don't have any reductions either. Now, the good news about this one is the finance staff is not going to be operating the backhoes and dump trailers and such, but I am reporting it because this has multiple departments that this affects. This is our general capital replacement fund, so it's an internal service fund. Again, we put money aside every year so that when these items come up, the money is there to purchase them. So for Glenn's department and streets, we have a backhoe and a sand spreader replacement. So these are both items that are up for replacement. They've already extended their useful life. For the Parks Department, the same thing. We have a dump trailer that is maybe over 20 years old that we're replacing. And they're going to replace some of their auto mowers, their autonomous mowers that we have out at the parks, and then they're actually going to add some new autonomous mowers as well for $86,000, because this actually helps us from having to add more staff for the parks. As far as court, municipal court, this includes court and the city marshal. We're going to continue looking at our standard operating procedures and try to look at those and identify processes that can make us a little bit more efficient. They've done a lot this year with going completely paperless and redoing all of our projects, not our projects. Our courts are all online as well, and so we've had a lot of cities that have come in and to evaluate how Lance and Sandra run the courts department so they can implement it, and a lot lot of larger cities have come in to evaluate their process. It's been really reflective of the changes that they've done, and they're going to continue to do that. And that includes just enhancing a lot of the online options for case compliance and dismissals and so forth. They redid in conjunction with the judge, they eliminate the initial failure to appear docket to implement a more notice-based compliance process. This is going to help us kind of eliminate some of the needs for the judge to be here and cut down our costs. So this was a cost-saving measure for us in looking at how we could do things differently. And then we're expanding some proactive notifications for due date reminders and so forth to try to get the tickets paid quickly and to hopefully increase some of our revenues coming in. As far as notable budget changes, we have reduced the warrant fees by $17,750. And again, for that, we're just going to be intentional on what we actually send to Flower Mound every month on that. And so we're still going to continue sending them. We're just going to make sure that we're sending maybe 10 at a time instead of just so forth, and those that are more current, because you can't collect on things that are old. As far as their restricted funds, on the Consolidated Municipal Court Security and Technology Fund, a lot of these projects are not only going to help the city marshal and the court, but also for the police department. So we were able to include some in here. So ballistic shield, entry tools for the city marshal. We're going to improve some of the court signage to help the residents when they come in for court. And for the police department, we're going to do stalker, LiDAR, radar replacement, and then replace some portable breath test machines for when they're making traffic stops. And then also for the front, we're going to do some monitor upgrades. And then the other two, we don't have any notable changes on those. Any questions? For communications, since we have a new mayor, one of our biggest goals was to implement, communications plans for the mayor to make sure we're consistent, make sure the messaging went out. And you can see we started with the Mayor's Minute, which has been pretty successful on our online platforms. We're looking at updating our policies and procedures. It's been about 4 to 5 years since we wrote them, so some of those may be coming to you within this next year. We were going to, the full migration of the city's website was going to happen in next fiscal year. We pushed them and actually got it done this summer. So we've actually completed that one, and so we were able to migrate that and actually bring in some new enhancements like the Notify Me and so forth for our residents, where they can sign up to get access of alerts of when agendas are being posted and such. And then we're, probably the biggest thing is to really work with EDC to support and help promote the downtown district and just all the growth and things projects that they're happening, so we can communicate that to our residents. As far as notable budget changes, we didn't add anything, but we did reduce advertising by $5,000 and reduced our promotional items. Now that Caroline and the special events has taken over the special events, then we're not setting up tents, so we thought we could actually eliminate that line item without having any interference with our operations. And then finally, so today we're August 20th, so tonight we'll vote on the published tax rate, the council, and then we'll have on September 3rd, we'll continue the director presentations. We'll have the utility fund on the 3rd, and then we'll also hold a public hearing on the budget and public hearing on the water rates, and then move into adoption on September 17th of the budget and the tax rate. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments, anybody? Mr. Campbell, is that it for?
We have from the staff.
So item number 2 is to discuss anything else on our regular session items. Public hearing, item number 3 has been withdrawn. So we have 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do we have any questions or clarifications before we get started? Did Bobby make it, Heath?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then we can let's take 3 to 4 minutes the restrooms and getting out there, and then we'll get started. Sound good? All right.
Excited.
6:34 workshop dismissed.